Hello, and welcome back to Pints with Pals. My name's Mike, and joined with me today are Jason and Jeremy. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey, what's going
on? Today we have something that I never thought I would ever like, and this is a KBS chocolate cherry. That's an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels. This is 11.6% ABV.
Mm-hmm. And a year and 3 months old.
That part I think is a little. It's a little low on the ABV, but their KBS and CBS were two of their like extremely popular, very seasonal and very hard to get.
Yeah, CBS used to be impossible.
Releases, and they've made them staples and they make them like go forever. But I did not like these, the KBS and CBS ones. Jeez.
Yeah, it's very full.
But I feel like the chocolate is very forward on this, and it's got a more of a tart cherry smell, but a fake cherry taste. At least that's what I remember. I didn't hate it though. What are you guys getting?
So I get some chocolate, some cherry. I also get smoke. Get a lot of smoke.
I get a lot of
smoke. I think that's the KBS. Yeah, go ahead.
Saltiness, which is kind of strange. I'm not hating it. It's just still pretty cold.
I'm also not hating it.
It's like a dark chocolate, like a salted cherry dark chocolate.
Yeah, it could be.
That's what it tastes like to me.
It's like strangely smooth. I wasn't expecting to be this smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the sweetness or something, but it's not overly sweet. I feel like it wants to be, and it just stops.
The perfect amount of sweetness, though.
Yeah, I don't really get much cherry. And it was weird. I don't know if you saw me. I was smelling it. It reminded me of like a jerky. Like, is that teriyaki?
I guess I'm on the nose.
Yeah.
I think that's the metallic smells that often are from like aging. When like the longer we let beers sit, I feel like that's the smell that I'm getting out of these bottles. Mine's been sitting on its side in the fridge for like a year. I don't really see a whole lot of residue, but I think that they produce enough of the KBS in general that they probably made a ton of this. This is the first KBS that I've ever liked. They weren't really making variants until like whenever this came out. I think it was the first year they started making variants. So at the same time,
the Mackinac Island Fudge one, I think, was the first variant they did.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yep. I like that one.
They made one similar to this it was called hazelnut, and they made it in a burnt orange color instead of a red color, and I accidentally bought 2 4-packs of that and was not happy. I do not like hazelnut, and then give those
you still have it?
Reading's hard.
No.
Oh, I'd try one of those.
Yeah, those were they were very hazelnutty, so I was just like, it's not my thing, so I just kind of gave them to my mom and
I can see
went and found these ones.
Not a Nutella fan?
No. Nope.
How'd your mom like them?
She loved them. She loves KBS, so any of the variants she's been very happy with. She's also a big fan of the Dragon's Milk variants, and Dragon's Milk just. I have not been as much a fan.
Right, I agree with that.
I appreciate that these are in a small bottle and not a bomber. I think we talked about that one of the previous episodes. Founders are doing all this stuff in a bomber. It's like I can't drink that in the evening. I guess you can drink with friends. Maybe that's the point, but COVID kind of stopped a lot of that.
I could definitely do a better half bomber easily in an evening. I have, so.
I'm just saying, it's not a good idea.
Well, it's the only one I have though, so I just stretched it out the whole night, like just like a Friday night if I play games. for 4 or 5 hours. That's 4 or 5 hours of drinking instead of just one beer versus 5 beers.
Yeah, that's where I feel like for me it's a little less of a problem because Angela likes to have them with me, so I end up getting to share half of it with her. And then that's usually like 2 of those is way more than enough for an entire night of drinking, but you actually get a little bit more variety.
True.
So that's kind of cool.
So I think where I stand on this one right now, I definitely give it a thumbs up. I like it.
Yep, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up also, just because it's better than I remembered it, and I was kind of going into this thinking I wasn't gonna like it as much as I did, but some of the other stuff that I didn't like, I think, has brought this one up a little bit. Going from like some of the best stuff you have to this is going to make this a thumbs down, but going from like kind of some of the crappier things or just kind of some of the stuff that's gone off a little bit, maybe I feel like this is kind of the wheelhouse that I'm shooting for as a semi-sweet. I would
like for you to join a homebrew meeting with me because there's just a variety of everything. So your palate's going nuts constantly. So like, yeah, I would be kind of curious what your first experience would be like just trying everything. 'Cause I knew mine was just overwhelming. Like I had no idea. I was like, try this, try this, try this. I'm like, holy crap. And there's no order. So it's like, it'd be a light beer to a heavy beer to another heavy beer to a barley wine to someone's moonshine they're not supposed to bring. And
whoops.
Yeah.
I will say to compare this
Go ahead.
to compare it to other KBSs, I'm not getting that sticky feeling I usually get, like in the back of my throat from KBS,
That's
or
what
a lot
I
of
was
the
literally
founders.
going to ask.
Oh,
Like what regular KBS, what you would consider this in comparison to the regular KBS was literally the question I was going to ask.
yeah. And it's like there's that founder's taste. I get a little bit of it, not much. I don't know if it's like I'm reading the description and they say like prominent notes of chocolate syrup, and like when I read that it's like, oh yeah, I could see that. Very thick and chocolatey.
Like I almost don't taste the Founder's Funk at all in this one. Like if you handed me this, I'm pretty sure I would not be able to tell that this was Founder's right off the bat. It's like there's a smell and then there's a taste that I get from it, and it's always it's like it hits you in like the back of the throat. Like when it gets to the back of your palate, it's like it has like it leaves a I'm Founder's skid mark behind.
But yeah, it's good.
Yes, I don't know if I ever experienced that myself, so I'm not sure I can agree or disagree. I don't drink enough Founders to.
I was gonna say,
or haven't drank enough Founders for me to.
I feel like if I gave you a KBS and you compare it to this, you would definitely get oh, there's something about it. I don't know what it is. It's metallic. It's tangy. It could just be tannins, the bitterness or sourness. But I don't get that from this. I will say, speaking of bitterness, this is 45 IBU. I don't get that at all.
Yeah, that's what it said. Yep. From the website, that's what it said. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's mellowed out since Mike bought it, but.
Yeah, as Jeremy said, this was bottled 12/6/22.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's over here.
So apparently their KBS was their flagship. Oh, what does KBS stand for? Kentucky Bourbon Stout or Breakfast Stout?
I think it's Bourbon Stout, but give me breakfast now that you say that.
Because I feel like CBS stood for Canadian Breakfast Stout.
Coffee.
Because it's got oatmeal in it.
Oh, I thought it was coffee. I was wrong.
When I first started seeing these Founders and all
Kentucky Breakfast Stout, yeah, he was right.
I feel like I didn't understand. I thought that was like a type of beer, not specific to Founders. Like I thought I'd be able to find like a KBS of like some other variant, like Perrin might have a KBS or something. I didn't know that they were like inventing their own like beer name, I guess. It was really weird. It was a really weird feeling to kind of, and it was like a very rare thing. Cause I remember going into breweries when they would have like KBS on tap, and it was like a big deal. There was like, we had one of the local bars by my house would have it every once in a while, and like everybody went there to like celebrate KBS Day or KBS Barrel or whatever, and now it's just everywhere. They saturated the market with it, in, I would consider, a bad way. And it just kind of, it lost its
Mystique.
Allure. Yeah.
appeal.
Allure,
Yeah,
yeah.
all of those words. It just didn't feel as special when you have it, and so I feel like that's kind of the par for the course, right? Like
Right.
they would have one release and it would be exciting, so you get like 2 bottles of it and be happy. Now you could go, like, you could literally go I can go into a gas station by my house, or a liquor store by my house, and buy, they had probably, I would say, 60 bottles of it that were all on sale for like
That's
I don't
interesting.
know, $10 or something, very cheap. For the big.
So I just wonder
bombers,
if it was
I've
just
seen this.
right. So I was wondering if the whole supply and demand thing, like they had such a demand for it, they're like, well, we're not making money off this other stuff. Why don't we just start pushing this out so we can start making money? I think that's a decision that was. I would assume was not made lightly, but I could be wrong.
Right, they've potentially cut corners and stuff too, to like how can we get the same flavor, but like use less, like, of whatever. And then the other thing too is, I think that the market has shifted a little bit. At least not the market so much as the people buying stuff aren't seeking out the high ABV barrel aged beers anymore. At least not as much so. So I don't know. There's a lot of factors I feel like that would probably play into that.
Right. I know, like the big trend down here, going from like North Carolina, Tennessee, all the way to California. I know, like the peanut butter jelly sour is like a big thing right now. There's a place in Knoxville called Zool that makes it, and they release it in small quantities. They may have like, I forget how many barrels they make. It's not many, and people will line up for it. And like once they're out, that's it. They're gone. You can kind of make a clone. And from what I've heard, if you're a home brewer, you can actually take it up there and they'll sample it and kind of tell you like how close you are to theirs. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, because some people were just pouring in just straight up, grape jelly into it. They weren't trying to figure it out. I was like, I'm just gonna get some bunch of grape jelly and just start dumping it in. Some people try like frozen grapes or whatever, or all sorts of other ideas.
Yeah, I feel like.
But beer definitely trends so differently all the time. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Is that a beer or is that like a liquor?
It's a beer with a sour, but it's not a normal sour because it's not made with. Because when you read the other website, there's no malt in it, so it's just fermentable sugars with yeast and whatever souring. I mean, they could use Philly sour for all I know. I have no idea how they make it, but yeah, I know there's no malt in it. It's pretty neat. No different. Kind of like a seltzer. I guess it's a sour seltzer maybe, but they don't call it that. I guess that'd be closer to that, if anything. But that's a different topic for different beer for different time.
Yeah, they
so
say.
How was your weekend, Mike?
My weekend was good. I went to our family cabin and did a redo of what we called Satbab. So we did the Saturday after Thanksgiving barrel aged beer, and this year a year or two ago we were still chasing all of the let's try and find the next best thing breweries.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just bought a ton of different stuff all like through the whole market, and then we tried all of those, and I would say that 1 out of every 4 of those were any good. So then we were just like sitting there with like a full glass of something that we didn't want to drink, and then just waiting for the next thing that wasn't very good. So that was really sad and disappointing. So this time we're like, okay, let's take all of the best things we have and take them out to the cottage and had a bonfire. And last week it was 70 degrees. This week it snowed. I'm like, this is fun. I love these weather swings. So that was fun. Yeah. We got quite a bit of we got probably like 10 or 12 different bottles bottles and cans to go through. Most of them were smaller, so it was easier to like get through, but we went through a lot of the stuff that we've really liked over the years and stuff, and that was good. What about you, Jeremy? What'd you work on? What'd you do?
Oh, suffered all week long. trying not to itch, and it just kept getting worse. It's my boss kind of gave me a tip, like take scalding hot showers, even though it hurts, and the itch is really, really bad, but it goes away. So you have some relief for a few hours. So I'm caked with calamine lotion, poison ivy. I guess I didn't say that part. So I have poison ivy on a big chunk of my body, and every few hours I notice a new spot somewhere else on my body that's poison ivy related, because even though it's technically not spreading, poison ivy just takes a long time for it to kind of run its course on your body. So I have blisters and all sorts of fun, yucky stuff on me. So that was not very fun. My youngest son's in town for spring break, so it's been fun hanging out with him. Granddaughter was here yesterday. She was fun to play with. She's already cooing. She's only 17, 18 days old, which is really young for a baby to really start doing that kind of stuff. So that was pretty interesting to see. Yeah, I know you don't know. That's
Never held a baby.
Too young. Never held a baby? Oh man.
Wow.
So like, hold the baby is like the most innocent thing ever. Go ahead. You were
I've been handed a child that they set on top of me, but they weren't that small. I've never.
Oh, okay, yeah. Infant. Yeah, she's not even 7 pounds yet. Oh, she may be 7 pounds now. She's drinking like 3 ounces, so she's doing fairly well overall. But yes, hopefully once this itchiness goes away, or at least the blisters, I can actually start doing some stuff. Because I have another beer I need to brew. I have all the stuff. I'm just waiting because I don't want to do it while I'm all tore up. How about you, Jason? What you been up to?
So we did. There's a bar in the Pittsburgh South Side that's closing.
Mm-hmm.
They've been open for 85 years, I think. It's McArdle's Pub. They're closing on St. Patrick's Day. Obviously, we don't want to go down there for St. Patrick's Day. We're not part of that crowd anymore. Too old. So we went down there this weekend. It was kind of nice. They had a bar dog, and everyone in there seemed to know each other. Everyone knew each other.
Right.
They had the drink on the wall was a flaming Dr. Pepper, so we had to order one of those. I think it's a beer and a Coke mixed with 151 that's lit on fire.
Well, that's kind of neat.
It's fun. So we ended up turning to a bar crawl, went and got lunch after that, and then kept walking down the strip to a different dive bar, and eventually ended up at Sly Fox Brewery and had a few there. But that was my weekend.
Cool. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the St. Patrick's Day. Till my wife was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go. Our buddy Tates is gonna come out here," and he's like, "I want to go get breakfast." And I was like, "On St. Patrick's Day?" He's like, "Yeah, we'll go to the place by our house at like 7 a.m." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm not 20 years old anymore, or 21 years old anymore. I can't do that kind of stuff." So I think we might just go for breakfast and then like have a green beer and then come home and then maybe go out again after the fact. But I'm just like, oh, I can't do that. But these episodes are going to come out way in the future, so we didn't time this very well.
Already passed it.
Yeah,
already passed it.
So by the time you guys are watching this, I've already done whatever stupid thing I'm going to have, or I'm not sure I'm ready to plan.
Yeah,
right.
It's a weird
so we don't have any
space continuum.
Irish beers this year. That's weird.
Right. Well, we have.
Yeah, we did not.
So in full disclosure, we had given each other beers to like split throughout this whole thing, but it's taken us almost a year or more than that now, I think, to go through them. And so like that's why we're seeing stuff. That's why all of Jason's beer last season were all expired. That, and he bought them at a place that
I'm
sold them
not sure that's why. I think it was because I bought them expired. But thanks.
But yeah,
tomato.
So we try and plan for this kind of stuff, but then all the stuff that I ended up collecting were all like barrel-aged beer, because that was the time of year. It was like right now when I was collecting them. Yeah. So then it was like cool, and then it was all summer, so like I'm not drinking a 11% beer in the middle of summer, because that, like, I'm hot right now when it's 40 degrees outside. So we have to plan these things better.
Playing these suckers.
I will say yesterday we had a blizzard here. It was crazy. We woke up and we were on the 8th floor, and I'm like looking out the window. I'm like half asleep, and I'm like, why is it white? Like, is it really bright? And I like open my eyes a little bit more and rub them, put my glasses on. And I'm like, oh, it's a blizzard. And literally it was snowing like that on and off all day. I mean, it was hot enough that it like wasn't sticking, but it was nuts.
Yeah, I was at the cottage, and there's I was trying to see if my parents had gone to church or if Tate's went to left in the morning or whatever. And I opened up, he's got like cameras and stuff, but I don't go there very often. So like it was white, and I was like, oh, this must be like an old view of it. Had no clue that it was supposed to have snowed, and there was snow on the, like everything was literally white. So I was like, I'm like, man, his camera won't refresh. And then I like looked out the window. I was like, I'm out.
That's
why I was so mad. Then it was daylight savings time on top of it. So I'm like, this game sucks.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, we got lucky with you called for snow, but it never arrived, which is kind of par for the course where I live. It just reminds me like when I lived in Flint, Michigan, like they would call for all sorts of crazy stuff, and you see this clouds coming on the radar, like, oh, there's Flint, and it would just divide around it, or just hammer us. Those would be one or the other. Like there'd be no cloud anywhere, just be over Flint the whole time.
Everything's sunny except for Flint.
Except for Flint, yeah. Except for Flint. Forget that town. Forget that town.
So I don't know if you had any kind of recipe that you would do for an oatmeal stout with cherries. Do they say what this one is?
I don't know if this is So again, I would probably just use my stout that I used for the competition. Yep, the Nibbler stout, or Dark Matter is what I called it, from Nibbler from Futurama. If no one gets the reference. So what I would do is I would probably just throw in like another like 4 ounces of oatmeal in there, just to kind of give it the oatmeal mouthfeel, the slickness and stuff like that. Probably throw in a couple of vanilla beans, because that's what I would want in mine. Mm-hmm. I don't think this has any vanilla in it, or at least it doesn't say so.
It mentions
but I think
it in
any vanilla would it? Does it? Okay.
It does. I thought it did. Yeah, chocolate syrup, vanilla, and bourbon. I don't really like bourbon, but whatever.
That's probably just from the barrels itself.
Yeah.
And then I would either use cherry juice or cherry extract. I'm a little torn. If I use cherry juice, you would probably want at least 32 ounces, I'm thinking. Because it's gonna have a lot of sugars in it, but you want that cherry kind of bitterness that kind of comes with cherries itself. Mm-hmm. But with extract, you would get, it can be artificial, but you definitely get the cherry flavor. It's all. I'm not sure if 32 ounces would be enough to actually get the flavor from it or not. What was the question? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, do you think that would impart more alcohol, more ABV? But do you think 32 ounces
it very well could?
A significant amount of sugars within that? When I was
I think
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. When I was doing
you're fine.
When I was going to do my experiments with the cider, I was thinking about doing like just a tart cherry juice, and then I was like, like, okay, well, what happens if I like boil it down and get rid of some of the water out of it to just be like a concentrate essentially? And I'm like, I don't know if that would make any difference, to be honest. I think it would probably bump up the ABV without really significantly impacting flavors, but I might go too far, and then I might burn some of the cherry flavors, and you might get a really weird like burnt cherry flavor in there. And
that's true.
Like, yeah. There's so many different things.
I wonder if you just bought like a can of frozen cherry juice, just skip that whole step. But then you'd want to pasteurize or potassium sorbate and
I'm afraid the potassium sorbate tablets would make me like break out. Like I feel like that's the thing that I really didn't like about some of the barrel aging or the home brewing was like the adding those sugars at the end to carbonate it or whatever. And I feel like those kind of give it a weird flavor, even though they're supposed to not. I feel like there's a lot of weird things that I feel like you probably don't need to do in like a major batch but you do in like a small batch situation, just to kind of control.
Right.
Like, because you have, when you're doing however many thousands of gallons at a time, I'm guessing you have a little more leeway in like, okay, well, this one yeast packet made like a fart smell, but the rest of them are fine. I'm pretty sure that'll even out through the whole thing. So
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically like the recipe. You probably add in some oak chips, just gonna get the oaky flavor like this has. So
does it? Do you guys taste the oak flavoring?
I do. I get a little bit of oak, like smoky oak.
Yeah, I get it. Which I think might actually be the founder's taste, and it's just not that strong.
Smoky oak.
They're using.
Yeah.
Well, Founders ages their stuff in a cavern underneath their like the Grand Rapids area. There's a whole bunch of like caverns and stuff down there, all old mines and stuff, and they just use that as like a where they store their stuff. So it keeps it at a lower temperature and a more regular temperature.
So I do have a question about that. Do they make any Oktoberfest beers? I've never seen any, but I'm just curious.
Yes,
they did.
That would be ideal.
They did a beer fest last year, right?
Yeah, we have some Oktoberfest from Founders in our fridge still from this year. I need a drink. But I think that has the Founders funk on it, and I'm just like, I can have like one, and then I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. But I feel like I'm that way with any beer at this point. I've gotten to the point where it's like, I want one of each type of beer, and then I'm kind of done.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, they did do a Marzen, but they didn't do a beer, fest beer rather.
Gotcha.
So on Friday, I did have the.
Perfect.
On Friday I did have the Founders, Four Giants Tropical IPA, and really enjoyed that. So I really want you guys to try that one too. That was gas station pour or gas station find. That was really tasty. It was. I would say that reveled the Juice Force and the Beer Hug, the Tropical Beer Hug. So
it's just hilarious to hear you say I like IPAs. I'll start in Cincinnati with the milkshake. It was just downhill after that.
That milkshake brought all the boys to the yard. Damn right, it was better than. Wait, what?
Not one better than mine.
So are you guys still a thumbs up? I am
definitely thumbs up. I think it's I enjoy it. I mean, I think it's a good sipper, even at 11%. Like it doesn't bother me being as warm as it is now. I mean, it's probably 60 degrees.
Yeah, it's good. I'd have it again. I don't get the cherry really. I don't get. I mean, chocolate, sure, maybe I could be convinced, but
I have the blueberry one too, which was pretty good, and I should give to you guys. That was another good one.
It's almost like a sweeter. It's just like a sweeter KBS, or a smoother KBS, maybe.
I think it kind of gets rid of some of the harshness that is the coffee flavor. It kind of mutes that coffee flavor with like a dark chocolatey, salted. I don't really taste the salt anymore.
No, that's kind of definitely is. Either that, or I'm just used to it.
Or you're drunk.
No, I definitely taste the salt still. It tastes like a salted dark chocolate. And then like the cherry is what like I feel like what hits your tongue to begin with, that sharpness a little bit on the front of your palate. Then when you swallow, you don't really get the flavor so much because it's kind of overwhelming, but I feel like that's where the cherry kind of hits. Yeah, I like it. That's good.
I like it a lot.
I would buy again, even though they'll probably never make it again.
It's not. I mean, it's on their site. Apparently it has a beer rating of 100. So I would assume that they would still make it.
Where does the beer rating coming from? Is that their self-inflicted rating?
Rate beer is a website.
Oh. Like, is it out of 100? They still have it like as a listed. So maybe they are just making it now. They have a spicy chocolate one.
Oh.
Thanks.
So there's 46 reviews.
Probably all the employees.
Yeah, I don't know what like the Untapped rating is or any of that kind of stuff, but
well, people on Untapped suck, so I'm gonna say that for the record.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm
I say
part
that
of
because
problem.
like Allagash wins, like every year they enter, they always win. Like that category, and then it's like rated like 3.7. Like that doesn't make sense. Like if it wins continuously, like why is it rated so low? But then you go look at like Bud Light, and they rate it like 4.7. I'm just kidding. I don't know what Bud Light's rated at, but some other like lesser beer they rank really high. So I'm just like, I don't know. I've never been a fan of Untapped myself.
No.
That's just me.
I'm not a big fan
designed.
of social media, and why does beer need a social media thing? I mean, it's cool because I use it to find when I was looking for Oberon last year or the year before. I wasn't sure it was going to be in Pittsburgh on Oberon Day, March 20th or whatever it is. And I found it and was able to go buy a 6-pack on because of Untapped. But
Nice.
But
is it
again,
March 20th? Did we miss that? Also,
it's first day of spring. I think it's.
We're gonna have to make a.
It's Oberon Day
YouTube
Monday,
short.
March 25th. So it's the first Monday after. This year actually, I'm just gonna mention it if we have time. But what?
Nothing. There, we missed Orville Day. We missed all kinds of shit.
It's not yet. It's almost here.
Yeah, Orville Day's coming. We could still do it. We can still do it. Maybe do a special episode.
When they have seen this, we would have to insert that in the past, and it's gonna be. It's gonna.
Hey, we can do a live episode.
Yeah.
Just open up and over. It's Ooh, I spelled that wrong, and that gave me something I didn't want.
I want you to try Orville. I think that was one of the
March 26th. We could do it. Hey, there's spring beers. We could do an Oberon and Orville. It's literally the day after. But anyway, what I was gonna say is Bell's is doing. If you go to the brewery on Oberon Day, assuming you can get in, they have a bunch of variants this year. So all the variants are gonna be on tap, which sounds pretty cool. I won't be in town, but it'd be cool to go.
Right. Oh, I won't be in town either. I'll be in this town.
Actually, I might be in town. Could call off of work early and it's a 3-hour drive. I'll just
Call sick.
Yes.
I can't make it. Gonna be sick. Wait, gonna be sick? Don't worry about it. I like their tasting notes. It's like prominent notes of chocolate syrup. Like, what the hell is that? Like, are they saying it tastes like Hershey's chocolate? Like, what other syrup comes in chocolate?
Saunders. Hey, you're from Michigan.
Darker.
Saunders chocolate syrup.
Yeah. Then it's vanilla and bourbon are the three like prominent. I don't taste the bourbon so much.
I don't taste
with cherry and coffee undertones. Full-bodied with moderate sweetness, low bitterness, and a fruity finish, which I don't get either. The fruity finish, anyway. The sweetness and low bitterness I do, but I do not get the fruity finish. It smells like the game Hunt to me for some reason. That's what it reminds me of for some reason.
To me, the game Hunt would smell like swamp ass, literally.
All right.
On that note,
I guess that's my cue, huh? All right.
Yes.
I want to say thanks. Thanks to everybody that's joined and tuning in, and don't forget to go have a pint with your pals.
Please drink responsibly.
And hey, we got one new subscriber. Let's make it another one in the next week. But like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what we should drink next. I mean, we'll drink anything. We should put that
Join
on a
the
shirt.
Discord.
Let's put that on a shirt. We'll drink anything.
I don't know. We might get some weird stuff. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I think that'd be a good